If you're thinking of buying an iPad and you've already watched all the reviews, this might be the one for you. I'm on the new M5 iPad. It's a 13-inch with 512 gigs of RAM. And I'm making this video because I watched maybe what feels like every video on the internet about the new iPads, and they're all kind of generally the same. They just talk about it's not much better than the M4, here's what's different, here's the stats, but I couldn't find what I wanted, and that's one, to see it in action. So I'm using the selfie camera right now, so not even the good camera. I'm filming on the iPad. I'm gonna edit this video on the iPad. Whatever audio you're hearing right now is from the iPad, and this alone is one video that I really wanted that I couldn't find. And at the end of this video, I'll flip it around the cameras so you can see what the Pro front cameras actually look like. The big thing for me, I'm a heavy MacBook Pro user. I do everything from like video editing to graphic design, consuming, creating content, all that stuff. I know that I wasn't gonna replace my MacBook Pro with my iPad, and I know my iPad wasn't just gonna be a media machine. So that's where I had a hard time finding a video for people basically in my use case. So what I did is, as soon as I got the iPad, I started trying to do everything with it. And that's kind of what I'm gonna just tell you guys about real quick, is when did I hit points where I had to hop on the laptop, and what does that barrier look like? And I'll tell you right off the bat, it's 10 times better now with iOS 26 or whatever, when we got the windowed mode on iPad. If you're not using the windowed mode on iPad, you need to. Here's a good example of the dynamic range. I'm using the selfie camera, so I don't expect it to be stellar. Everything about it's nice. The screen is phenomenal. That's the main reason I got this one over the air, is for the screen. Which kind of brings me to the workflow thing. So right off the bat, before I get into when I had to actually hop off the iPad and get onto my Mac due to like system or app limitations, there's a caveat, because when you set this iPad next to your MacBook and with one click, it becomes your second monitor, I just can't describe how amazing it is. And the first time I did it with a Wi-Fi connection. I thought it would be laggy and I wouldn't like it and I would need to use a USB-C cable. But honestly, I didn't even notice. And the reason it's so good is because it's not like having a second monitor, like you're used to. This screen is so good. And I'm sorry guys if it's a little unstable. Another thing I wanted to know is, like, I'm holding this thing at arm's length, so like it's getting kind of heavy. I don't mind it, but some people might not like it. When you use this as a second screen on your MacBook Pro, it is just amazing. And I even have two other screens, so when I use this, I'm at 4 screens. And the reason it's so amazing is because now you got a screen you can drag something like Photoshop or Illustrator to, and say you're trying to do a real annoying crop, or you're trying to like erase a background and the auto AI isn't working. To put this on the iPad and take my Apple Pencil out and finish it with that is just like, I wanted to cry. It honestly made me realize like how badly we need a touchscreen on the MacBook Pro. And there's my setup. So I just set my iPad like right there, and then I got 4 screens, and it's nice because I can just move it and put it in my lap and whatnot. So from that point of view, that alone makes the iPad worth it. I'm just tell you guys off the bat. And that's something I kind of wanted someone to tell me, like, even if you don't use any of the iPad stuff, it is such a good second monitor that it's almost worth it for that and the pen. It has some other modes I haven't experimented with too much. Like, there's a way to link it up to your MacBook Pro where it's still an iPad, but you just control it with your mouse and keyboard. So there's different flows for everyone. Now, if that's all you needed to know, you might be done with this video. The next thing I'm going to talk about real quick is what things happened where I just hit a physical wall where it's like, no. And there's a learning curve. So I'm definitely learning the processes. I do a lot of video editing, 3D modeling, things like that. So the video editing's come a really long ways. There's certain things you can actually do in iPad now that you can't do in anything else, which is crazy. I've been a Premiere user forever, and I recently started using Final Cut, and oh my God, it's so amazing for iPad. If you've never tried it, you definitely should. It's just so shockingly intuitive and fast, and with the M5, I've had no problems working directly off of my flash hard drive, which could be an issue if you're not on the new iPad, because that's something that was improved a lot. But where I'm really noticing more limitations is with 3D modeling, and like all the file formats. So I've been using Shaper, and there's a couple other really good apps. They're kind of expensive. Like Shaper could be $35 a month, and there's some other good ones out there, but it's pretty hard to compare them because Shaper's really good. But anyways, when you're doing 3D modeling and you want to bring in art, normally you'd use a vector, but like I had to use a DXF file or something, so I kind of found myself like struggling to the point where I eventually just went to my desktop and used Fusion 360, because you find yourself doing stuff on the iPad where you're like, I'm 30-40 minutes in and I would have been done in 10 minutes on my laptop. Like I said, I'm trying to figure out the learning curve and see if it's always like that. And I am finding workarounds. I found some other apps that can make vectors and do it for free. I think it was Audacity or something. Adobe Fresco has a really cool free app, but it only does SVGs, and I need this other file type. So that's one space where I can figure it out on the iPad. It's just taken me a long time. Like if someone came to me and they didn't have either device and they were asking what to get, I would have to say a MacBook, because it's just so much quicker and easier. But on the same hand, like, it's a huge benefit to have a MacBook and an iPad, because it's the only way to get a MacBook with a touchscreen, with the Apple Pencil, that works really good. So that's my advice. If you don't already have a MacBook Air or a Pro or anything like that, and you're just trying to decide what to get, honestly, get the MacBook. If you already have a MacBook, maybe you're trying to decide, should you upgrade or get an iPad? Well, that's a much tougher decision, because I would say you just need to be on an M series processor with your laptop. Like if you have an M1 laptop that's at least got an M1 chip in it, I would go for the iPad and wait as long as you can to replace your computer if it's not imperative. But yeah, guys, that's basically my main takeaway from the new 13-inch iPad Pro. Let me know if there's something I missed, if you guys figured anything out from this video that you haven't seen in the other videos. We'll see how this image quality and audio is. I hope me walking around didn't bother you guys too much, but gives you a chance to check out the stabilization, the dynamic range, etc. And for this final part, it's really loud outside because my neighbors are getting a new roof put on. So I guess you'll get to test the audio, but I'm gonna flip the cameras around and let you guys compare how good the front cameras are. And keep in mind, I'm gonna go outside where there's a lot more light, which always improves quality. So just for comparison, I guess I'll leave this on for a moment. So it should look better now, just because I'm in the light, right? Okay, I'm gonna switch the camera. Can't do it while recording. Still, thank you, Apple. So is the quality much better? I did notice that it let me put it in 4K now. And when I was doing the face recording, it was actually just HD. Let's see how it does going into the darkness here. Hey, what's up, puppy? So if you guys remembered earlier in the video, you could see the dynamic range. And as you can see, this camera is a bit better. I can see the dark spots and the light spots. That's pretty good. Yeah, this camera is noticeably better than the selfie camera. 1x, there's 2x, and that's all you got on this one. I don't see like a wide or a super zoom. It's just what we got. Do you guys like the iPad? Dogs approve. I have not went deep into these settings, but just as a last little note, I was reviewing that front camera 4K video on my screen, and it looked so good it felt like I didn't even film it. So I'm curious if it's gonna look that good after I edited it. And part of the reason why I'm feeling that way is because I was just holding this iPad out. It kind of looked shaky on the screen, like all over the place. Obviously, there's some level of automatic stabilization. I haven't went into the settings and messed with it, but whatever they're doing, looks pretty good. Let me know what you guys think. And how was the audio? Dogs. Till next time. Peace.